One, shh, colleagues. Hey, I'm not sure what's going on because I'm focused on committee reports, but let's please. Okay. Colleagues, everybody, deep breath. Hey. No, we're not doing that.
Stephen Hale here from the Nashville Banner with my colleague Stephen Elliott.
Hey.
We're going to discuss Tuesday night's Metro Council meeting. We're recording on a Wednesday. It was included a 3.5 hour long public hearing. I think I'm right in saying more than 100 speakers.
That's right.
But first, I have a question for you. Stephen, do you know what a kinkajou is?
You know, I don't. But I figured you would because I saw a headline earlier about the zoo or somebody rescued one, and I immediately thought of you.
You're correct that there was a kinkajou rescue in Nashville. Credit where it's due. WKRN was all over this. Mm-hmm. The Metro Animal Care and Control rescued a kinkajou.
It sounds like a Pokemon.
It does sound like Pokemon. The kinkajou is apparently a nocturnal mammal from South America, a rainforest kind of situation.
Yeah.
And its name means honey bear. It kind of looks like a sort of monkeyish squirrel deal.
How did it get here on foot?
I have no idea, and I don't. If anyone knows this, they should reach out. But it's not in WKRN story, and it's not on the Metro Animal Care and Control social media where they posted about this. But they are looking for the owner.
It's kind of like the Paddington Goes to Peru situation.
A reverse Paddington, classic. They're looking for the owner, and they're saying that if anyone comes forward, they're going to have to show like identification and their license to have this because it's an exotic animal. They don't know where it came from, I don't think. And they said that they're looking for, if no one comes forward, they're looking for an appropriate place for it. And they clarified that it is not a candidate for adoption. So you cannot adopt the kinkajou. But I wanted to make sure we got that on the record first.
I just have so many thoughts, but I know we have a lot to talk about.
Well,
but, is there a division of, is there like an animal detective division?
Well, I'm starting to wonder this because, as you probably know, because we've discussed it internally here, there have been several incidents in the past year or so.
And you're kind of the leading scholar on this.
There was a emu recently that was loose that Metro Animal Care and Control rescued. There was a snake out in like the Hermitage area that
did you see the
found
the Nashville Scene story on this?
Yes,
they did a story about Aaron Evans, who's the council member.
Yes, several of these things have happened in her district.
Yes, I thought you were going to go back further than that and talk about the coyote and various other animals of history.
Yes, the Music City Center coyote, Convention Center coyote, the Bellevue beaver, I think, was my first one that really piqued my interest of this. People, if you're new to Nashville, may not know this, but there was I want to say it's 2012, there was a beaver. Well, so someone reported, I think, to the police that they saw a small human hand. They thought someone was stuck in a creek over in Bellevue. So they come out and they respond. It turns out it's a beaver, and beavers have these little kind of like human-like hands in it. And so,
oh my gosh,
yeah, I don't know. I blogged about it,
and then of course
it's been downhill since then.
I don't know if you mentioned this, but the zebra, we just passed the 1 year mark on the zebra.
Rutherford County zebra being loose, which they helicoptered out.
That's right.
Yeah. So, anyway, I think that'll do it for us here. Like and subscribe. Okay, so. First, I think we're very keen to talk about what happened towards the end of the meeting. But first, maybe just hit us with the lead, kind of what happened with the budget, what came up in the public hearing.
Sure.
Where does it stand in the legislative process?
You want to get through the boring stuff first. And then
I would call it the substantive budgetary stuff, and then we'll get into more of
dessert comes later.
Right.
Okay.
The vegetables.
Yeah. Every year, the council holds a public hearing on the budget. This time of year, it's the second vote on the budget, and there's a third vote that'll come up in 2 weeks, which will be the final vote. So anyway, they let anyone in Nashville who wants to come and talk about the budget come. It's uncapped, unlike most other times when people come and talk to the council. So
By which you mean like as many people show up, they can all talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all comers. And they don't even split them up pro and con. They just
No.
say line up and everyone can talk.
And it's always a mess. I mean, the famous one was during COVID when it lasted till the wee hours of the morning. And, people were trying to comment online because at that time they had like sort of an online system where you could call in, but they got so frustrated with the online waiting thing that they just drove down to City Hall. They're like, well, I got time. So it's always kind of a mess because you get 150 people try to put them in a line. I mean, someone joked last night, one of the commenters was like, you need to call up a Metro teacher because they'll get this in order.
Well, and the vice mayor was, I guess it's a fire code situation or whatever. They're trying to keep the aisle clear somewhat or the doorways clear, but she was trying to get only 10 people to be standing in line at a time, and that ended up taking quite a while, it seemed.
Yeah, they need like a number system, like at one of those restaurants.
Like
maybe.
a deli ticket thing.
Yeah, a deli ticket. That might work. But yeah, it's always kind of a mess. But a lot of people come. It was about 106 is what I counted, but I went to the bathroom, so I might have missed one or two. And sometimes people come in groups. There's a few groups that get organized. They wear T-shirts. They have a similar message. They're all asking for the same thing. There's strength in numbers kind of situation. Some people just show up and say, I like this, I don't like this. And so it's a mix of different types of people. And some of the big groups that show up, one is city employees, often represented by SEIU, which is a union that represents a lot of the city employees. So they'll come and talk about employee pay is always a big point of contention. And we've written some about this in recent weeks, but there's always a debate about how much the city is paying its employees and whether their annual increases are sufficient.
Right, and I know there were some teachers who talked about this, right? The cost of living adjustment, the COLA, they call it.
That's right.
And whether it was enough to keep up with the rising costs of living here.
Right. And it was interesting, and that's a whole other podcast we get into. There's this new formula of how they calculate what the cost of living increase should be. They don't even call it a cost of living increase anymore. We don't need to get into all that. But needless to say, it's always a fight. Often the council, in recent years at least, has added to the mayor's budget. One of the more significant changes they'll make. So let's say the mayor says, well, this year it's 3.7%, I think, is like the kind of general increase that people are getting. The council could come in and round it up to 4. They could add a whole point to it. They just have to find the money somewhere. So employees came. There are a couple groups, the People's Budget Coalition and Stand Up Nashville, namely, that are really interested in social housing, which we also had a story on last week. And there's a lot to say about that we can keep it somewhat brief, but they come in T-shirts and they have kind of coordinated messaging. But yeah, that's where we stand. So the council members take that feedback and they have these wish lists that they give to the budget chair, and they say, I want to add more to this. I want to take away from this. I want to fund this program that wasn't funded in the mayor's budget. And then the budget chair, it's Quante Toombs this year. She comes up with her substitute budget. People can amend it. You could file your own budget, but that's like this huge undertaking that is never works. So anyway, it's someone might try. It'll probably be more of like a messaging thing, but typically the chair's budget will be passed with some amendments maybe here or there. So 2 weeks, I think it's June 16th, final vote on the budget. That's when we'll really know what's changing.
So when do you expect to know what the final budget that they'll be voting on will look like?
Probably next week we'll have a better idea. There's still
Of like how much they're changing from the mayor's proposal or not.
There have been hints because the budget committee, I mean, kind of loosely speaking, has been holding these work sessions where they kind of talk through what they want to see changed. So you can get a sense of where they're looking at making changes. Last year, it's funny, you always hear about like finding money in the couch cushions, and that's true here. They ask every department this year to find 1.5% reduction. And when they asked at these budget hearings, all the department heads, how they would find that cut, most of them said something. The cut would come from their like this vague name, like other costs or something. And so there's like a little funny money going on. The same is true with the council when they're like, we want to add $2 million for this program. They're almost never cutting $2 million from some specific program. It's coming from some vague account that's kept for contingencies or special purposes. And I'm sure the finance people hate that because they're like, no, we need that.
Yeah.
But the council members are like, we can use that.
Right.
But they're not like cutting an employee from a department
to pay for this other
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
usually.
It sounds like basically the way that I decide whether or not we're going to go out to a restaurant to eat tonight.
Well, we'll
I'm
figure
kind of
it
like,
out.
you know what? Let's do pizza.
Yeah.
And if I'm honest, I haven't really consulted like our weekly.
Speaking of,
restaurant budget.
they do get catered food for the public hearing, and last night it was these sort of mini sandwiches from Publix. It looked like there was some fried chicken from Publix as well.
Publix has some good subs, and I've had the fried chicken from Publix. It's pretty good too. Okay, so the thing that both you have a separate story that
Yes.
you wrote after last night's
Special
meeting,
edition.
Gosh, when did you get home last night?
So, well, it's a long story, but I got
We'll get to that.
I got home like just before 1.
Okay.
And then I watched a couple episodes of Entourage, which
As you do.
I'm not a big Entourage head, but when I get home from these things, like my brain is still working.
gotta-
When you just get off work, like you don't go straight to bed. So I was, up for a
Yeah,
couple
you
more
gotta
hours.
do a little brain bath. Okay, but so the reason you had a separate story is because there was a separate vote, separate from the budget issue, about the Nashville Downtown Improvement District.
Yes.
So just tell us all about that, and then we can get into some of kind of the drama that followed.
It is sort of related to the budget, but yes. So the Central Business, there's all these acronyms that I'm about to say, so please bear with me. The Central Business Improvement District downtown. It's like this. Someone drew a line on a map around the downtown entertainment district, Lower Broadway, etc., and they raise extra funds in that district. Some people call them a tax. Some people say it's not a tax, but it is basically an extra assessment on your property tax down there and an extra fee when you buy stuff, retail things. So it's effectively a tax, but it stays in that district. And there's this board that governs it, and they basically farm out all of it to the Nashville Downtown Partnership, which is an entity that you've seen. They have the red and yellow, and they drive the little segways, I think.
Right, and they have yellow street sweepers and
the pressure wash the sidewalks, and they do a lot of different stuff. In the last year or so, there's been a lot of attention on them for a number of reasons. One is there was an incident that you and I wrote about last year or multiple incidents where 10 or 11 people living outside downtown were arrested and charged with this felony camping law that the state had passed that was very controversial and, as far as we know, had not been enforced really anywhere.
Right, it was
ever.
on the books, but no, we hadn't heard of anyone getting arrested actually for it.
For a felony, which most of the criminal charges that unhoused people face are more minor and get dismissed, but a felony is like a more serious thing. So it's
Right.
more. Anyway, it was 10 or 11 of them in rapid succession in a couple of weeks. And it was reported on at the time because and it was mentioned that Tennessee Highway Patrol did that. We thought that was kind of weird because Tennessee Highway Patrol doesn't really like walk the street. They're in their
Right.
cars on the highway. So eventually we reported that they were working as part of the Downtown Partnership and the CBID's off-duty security program where they pay to have officers do extra patrols downtown. And so that was kind of a big deal for a lot of people because this was a thing that happened that we did not like. And we learned later that it was the Downtown Partnership's program that had facilitated that.
It was a lot of things that had been happening or been initiated without a lot of, if any, public discussion of it, right? Like, basically no one knew this was going on in a few different ways.
There's a bunch of other different things. They manage the parking garage that
The library.
By the library that caught on fire. That's sort of unrelated to this. Anyway, but they've just been in the news a lot. So there's been a lot more scrutiny on them, and part of that is because they have their budgets have the council has in law is supposed to approve their budget every year, and that hasn't been happening. It's been as part of the budget book, so it's like sort of technically it's sort of approved, but anyway, it's supposed to be approved like directly
Separately as its own thing.
And so that's happening right now. And
Did someone initiate, maybe I missed this, but why did it get pulled back out to be separate sort of from the whole budget?
As part of all this
made that happen?
scrutiny that's happened, another part of it was the Gulch district and the downtown district, which are both managed by the downtown partnership, are merging. And so there was some legislation about that several months ago. And like more of these questions came up then. And one of them in the past few months, I think it was Sean Parker, who's a council member for East Nashville. It was kind of one of the leftier ones. Had found somewhere buried in the code, the Metro code, looking up all the information about the improvement districts, saw that the council was supposed to be getting these budgets directly and was like, I've never seen one of these budgets. Right. So he brought it up, and then it became a whole thing. Now the budgets are coming to council.
Got it. And so last night, the council had a vote on their budget.
Yeah.
And what happened next?
Well, there was, everyone went back and forth, said the pros and cons. They took the vote, and this is after 4 hours of public hearing. It's almost midnight at this point. Some people didn't even show up for the meeting, and a lot of people have left. There are only 28 people who vote out of 40 members, which means people have left. Maybe they're in the bathroom, whatever.
And what would a quorum is 27?
27. I love quorum watch, which that can be if we have a slow week, sometime we can talk about the staff members who stand at the door and
make sure they have enough people. Yeah.
But for this particular legislation, they needed 21 votes, which is, in Metro, there are different thresholds for things passing. Sometimes it's a majority of those voting, which in that case, 28 would have been 15, I guess, would have been enough to pass. In this case, there's a specific number, no matter how many people are there. 21
so it's
is
the majority of the count of the body,
members,
not of the members present.
Even though there were a bunch of people missing. So they voted 20-8 in favor of this budget. So, pretty good margin, but it failed by a single vote. At first, there was a lot of sort of emotion, I guess. People were like, whoa, what does this mean? This is kind of surprising. I mean, the lobbyist for the Downtown Partnership did say to me before the meeting, he was worried it wasn't going to pass. Mm-hmm. So there was some thought that this might happen, but it was a pretty big surprise. And people were like, what does this mean? This is a multi-million-dollar entity. The budget is presumably for the fiscal year that starts July 1. So are they just going to dissipate? I mean, what happens? Mm-hmm. But as people calm down, I think they can bring the budget back in 2 weeks, and there'll be more people there, and they'll get the 21st vote.
They'll probably just get the votes that they would have gotten if they had 40 people there.
Yeah, which kind of brings me to the next bit, which right after the vote, Jordan Huffman, who's a council member who supported the Downtown Partnership budget, he was very emotional, I guess. I didn't see, I was sitting, pretty close by, but I didn't see exactly what happened. But something fell off his desk. He must have brushed something off his desk or tossed it or something. So
he was upset about the result
of
the vote, you mean?
Yeah, he was upset. He was very upset. And there was kind of a commotion, and another council member, Hale, who sits right across the aisle from him. And when I say across the aisle, there's no... It's not like in D.C.
Not the partisan aisle.
Literally just happens to sit near him. He said something about, we got some children in here. It was calling him immature. And the vice mayor, Angie Henderson, does not like when there is
commotion. Yeah. She tries to run a tight ship.
This was certainly commotion. So she starts saying, whoa.
And that's the audio that we played in the beginning of the episode, right? Which was Vice Mayor Angie Henderson kind of trying to calm everyone down.
And I don't know, Jordan must have said something else. I don't know. They get up, these two men. They're kind of in each other's faces, and someone says something about taking it outside.
Well, and so I'll just interject here to say, because I, like all normal people do, got up early this morning and watched this on Metro Nashville Network. And I don't know exactly how the production of the live stream of the council meeting works, like who's choosing the candidate. Because, like you'll have a shot of the vice mayor, then you'll have a shot of the whole chamber, then whoever's talking, that kind of thing. But whatever person or whatever is controlling that, it was great because the vice mayor was kind of like, whoa, trying to calm everyone down. And then they went to the shot of the whole chamber so you could see the two council members standing up and kind of gesturing to go outside, and then other people turning around and trying to get them to stop and stuff. It was
at which the state legislature often, when there's some kind of commotion like this, their live stream people are on it and they like go to black. And and you can't really see what's going on, which is very frustrating, which is why it's important for us to be in the room.
That's right.
But it sounds like Metro Nashville Network was a little bit better.
This is the first thing I thought. I was like, whoever's working the desk tonight is really on.
Yeah. Well, there were a couple of like funny. So some members like got up to kind of separate them, calm people down. They eventually like were laughing with each other. So after a couple of minutes, so I think they kind of quashed it. But there were a couple of funny moments. Like one was Tasha Ellis, who's another council member who got in a pretty intense, similar fight with with Sean Parker several months back.
A while back, yeah.
She said something like, and I think it was a little tongue in cheek, but she's like, "I'm the only one that's allowed to fight around here." and then the vice mayor, Angie Henderson, when one of the men said something about taking it outside, she's like, the only time we take it outside is for a nice substantive discussion, which I do believe is a violation of the Open Meetings Act.
So yeah, two council members should not go outside and have a private substantive discussion about Metro.
Yeah.
Policy.
So when that happened, we had talked about it before when I heard that this might go down. Not the fight, but the vote. I didn't predict the fight. I had said, if this happens, instead of putting this as just like a section in our general council recap, this is probably worth its own story.
Yeah.
So as I heard all the speeches during the debate, I was like, oh, there's kind of a lot of people speaking against this. So I started kind of quickly writing up.
Okay, I was just going to ask about the process side of this. So
I started to, but then the problem was the vote got taken and then the fight started and I wasn't done with my draft. And then everyone's yelling and moving and the blood's kind of pumping in me and it's also really late. So I was telling someone earlier, I was like, my brain was like really tired and really amped at the same time.
Yeah. Classic.
So the writing, I haven't even checked, but hopefully someone like took a good look at that before they put it up. But
well, I sure hope so.
But anyway, so then they went on to some other stuff. And there was some other stuff that I had to follow because it was in our regular recap. So I was like trying to keep an eye on that, but I was also like kind of figuring out this whole fight and trying to get another story written so that we could have it in our morning newsletter. Trademark the flyer. Please subscribe. So that was that. I got it done, and then we all filed out. I kind of was chit-chatting with, I talked to Harold to just say, like, did y'all quash that beef? He was like, yeah, whatever. Talked to the lobbyists for the NDP, see if they could get us a comment or something. We haven't heard from them, but just checked in with everyone. And then went outside, and it's 12:30 or whatever at this point. And everyone had left. There were hundreds of people there earlier in the night, but by that point, it's just the hardcore, the real sickos.
Yeah,
And I'm outside. I'm about to go down in the elevator to my car. We're out in that park in front of City Hall, and one of this activist I know who's at all these meetings. She's hardcore on, she speaks at a lot of public comments. Whatever, she comes by, and since she's one of the sickos like me, like, that was crazy. Like, so we start chatting, and then the lobbyist comes, and they're sort of mortal enemies, but they were just talking. They're very cordial.
Have a kind of camaraderie.
Yeah,
almost,
they do. Yeah, at that hour, everyone kind of does.
It's like, hey, it's 12:30. We're in the middle of the metro. What does it come? The courtyard or the whatever out there. Yeah.
So we're just kind of chatting about what happens, whatever. We go down in the elevator, and it's just like the activists who really wanted the downtown partnership thing to fail, and the lobbyists who was working on it to get it to succeed. And me. And the garage is broken. Typically at that late hour, you can just like stick your ticket in the box and it opens the thing, but that wasn't working. And there's no way to just like pay. So we were just like...
So there was a real possibility we would be recording this podcast from the garage where you were still trapped. We could have come to you.
Yeah, it was... Yes. I mean, I really wanted to go home. And so did everyone else. And there was this kind of manic energy in there. But eventually someone wasn't... The employees, they have this pass that they can get out. Mm-hmm. So someone scanned that and one car got out and one person held the thing...
The gate open.
Which was fine. And so we started to go through and then it looked like it broke. I don't know what happened exactly. But I will say it was the garage's fault because they didn't let us out. And this lobbyist like told the activist, he's like, I didn't see anything, and drove away.
Oh man, amazing. Something similar to that happened to me once after an election commission meeting where it went on forever, and then a few of us got like trapped in a parking lot. And I don't know.
That parking lot, that parking garage in particular, is very deep underground, and if it's raining, it's kind of like the water is like dripping down in it. It's very noir.
Dank, would you say?
Well, I was gonna say noir. It reminds me of All the President's Men when they meet in the parking garage or whatever. Yes. And but no, it's just us.
Well, I'm glad you made it out.
Thanks.
I'm glad you're here with us today.
Thank you.
So thanks for talking us through all that. As we said, people can read or listen to your story on NashvilleBanner.com. We are produced by Andrea Tudhope as usual, and we'll see all of you soon.